Interesting. But I totally get it. I mean, you're also introducing other factors that could hamper your ability at South Africa, whether it be gun problems, you know, what anything. You could lose a gun in transit. I mean,
Yeah. I
so
wouldn't I wouldn't take the gun that I'm going to shoot in Africa to a match like that 2 weeks out. I wouldn't risk it.
well, you're going to take. Did you take two to Africa?
Yeah, yep. Took two to Africa, but I wouldn't like if I was going to fly 2 weeks before something like nationals or Africa. I would take separate guns. I wouldn't
Okay.
risk taking the same gun for that reason right there. Damage, loss. Not that that's ever
Yeah.
happened. I mean, you hear horror stories of it, but today, I mean, I fly for every match. I don't really have the opportunity to drive to matches. I fly quite a bit, and I've never had issues. You know, throw some air tags in. We used to use these old 5G cell phone trackers or 3G cell phone trackers. But today, air tags are super easy, and they're somewhat of a deterrent to theft, even. But I've never had an issue, but I still wouldn't risk it. I just take another
Right.
gun.
Well, I know Max Leogrand is trying to get back from. I think it was Extreme Euro one year. His PCC stayed in Europe. It didn't make
Yeah,
it back with them. They
never,
that was confiscated.
never,
Yeah.
it never made it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't. There are two Canadians I know, Mike and Lise Mahoney. They shot nationals in 2020 at Frostproof. That's where I met them, and they were 1 hour away from never seeing their guns again.
Oh no.
And they're Canadians. They got
Yeah,
a call when they were in Frostproof. Their guns somehow got misplaced on other flights,
yeah.
and a guy called from Tampa and he's like, "Hey, is this your luggage?" And they're like, "Yes." He goes, "Well, my boss just told me to send it to the warehouse in Houston in an hour. So if you can't get here in an hour, they're
Wow.
basically gone forever." So they were like speeding from Frostproof to Tampa to get those guns, or they were never going to see him again. That's the concern for me. That's why I like driving.
Yeah, and flying takes a long time. I mean, I'm a couple hours from the airport, and then you got to be there a couple hours early, and our airport's really busy, and you know, there's always something going. TSA security doesn't matter what passes you have; it takes what it takes sometimes, and you don't want to feel in a rush, so you get there even earlier so you can have a meal. And flying just takes time. It just takes, you know,
It
it's
does.
it's really you can cover a lot of ground in the time you waste in airports.
And,
So.
and it's completely out of your control.
That's right, and that's right. And I like to tell people I don't stand in lines, but I don't really have a choice at the airport sometimes. So,
Right.
uh,
Oh, well, you could go to the head of the line, just scream, fire or something, but then there are other consequences that come with that.
and fortunately, when you travel with a revolver and you get into some of the the paperwork side of it, we go to Africa, France. You know, even some of the states in the U.S. When you get somewhere you're supposed to go, and the people that you have to deal with maybe aren't as familiar with traveling with firearms, especially at the airport or the transit police or whatever you're dealing with. You know, the whole you open the case and there's a cute little revolver and it's got a wood grip. It's just not as threatening as maybe some of the other divisions come across, and
Yep.
you kind of, oh yeah, we kind of do this thing and travel, and yeah, it's really fun. We just hang out with friends, and you kind of play it off a little bit. And I think we've got a little bit of advantage not having a black gun or scary gun or something like
Right.
that to people who aren't as familiar with it. So I think that kind of plays into the success that we have in travel sometimes.
Well, I think you would even be welcome in New Jersey.
Maybe
All right, maybe we're pushing it, but that.
I do like paper.
So you said your wife went to Africa. Did she enjoy it as much as you?
Yeah, it's we travel a lot. We get to travel. We try to travel once a year internationally. This year, for spring break, we went down to Costa Rica. She works at a school, so we went on a school trip with the kids for spring break, and that was different. And we did that a few years ago. We went with some kids to Spain. But she went to France. She went to World Shoot. She's actually gone to everything except Nationals. Nationals is a little bit more aggressive of a match than maybe an I-Core match or a WRC match or a Steel Challenge. It's a little bit more. We're
intense.
we're a little bit more intense as individuals. We're a little bit more intense with each other, and we can walk away. We can walk away when it's done and shake hands and hug and move on with our day. And I'm not always necessarily sure if everyone would see the world that way. So I kind of go at nationals alone and with fellow competitors, and we have it out there, and that's our little section of life together that no one else interrupts, right? But my wife went to Africa. We enjoyed Africa. We got to see things. I'm not sure we're in a hurry to go back. It's a long way. It's a long, long way.
Yeah, it is. That is a very long way.
Yeah. Alex actually, his dad had been there several times to hunt before, and I'm not sure if Alex had gone with him, but I know that Alex's brother had gone with his dad, and they'd hired some people to take them through the airport. Is kind of the way it was described to us beforehand. And that's a good story. Did he tell you that story?
He did, and he said he highly recommended it.
Yeah, and we heard lots of stories, and we group text with other shooters, and people were in the airport for 12 hours, before our flight took off, and here comes Team Revolver. I mean, we didn't step foot on airport property until 30 minutes before the plane took off. And we were much less popular with everyone else when we rode in looking fresh. We just had some coffee. We went shopping for the day. We didn't have to deal with traffic or maybe being pulled over by the police, as some people had to deal with. And we had quite a peaceful final day there, thanks to that experience with that group. So
Alex said he was actually starting to get nervous that you weren't going to make your flight.
We both were. I went to the guys and I was like, look, we have no problem going and sitting in the airport. He's like, no, sit here. And we were in a beautiful hotel lobby. And he's like, no, and I'm like, this is not normal. Like, I am freaking out. And we still had our guns. I mean, when we walked to the airport, it was quite a different experience. And Alex paid for it. I don't know what it cost. Whatever it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I guess it was I want to say his father who knew them or something. But yeah, he said it was like 30 minutes before you guys just literally like walked right up to a counter, turned everything in, and there you went.
We turned everything in. How's that?
Yeah, exactly.
I've never walked through a metal detector with such luck.
Wow.
It was pretty impressive. It was good. That really made the end of the trip pleasant when everyone else was in the airport with no food and no water, no bathrooms, and it's hot. And we're touring the city and having coffee and having lunch and really enjoying our time, and everyone's there, and we're like, oh boy, if this backfires and we don't make this flight, we're gonna look really silly. But nope, here we come at the last minute, and we got hell for it once we got on that plane.
That's okay. It's worth it. So, do you see that on the screen?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What? All right. I need some context here because what I'm not seeing is a fence.
There's a fence. Once you keep playing, you'll see the fence, I think.
All right. I got to keep playing this for the people listening. There's a big ass lion roaring, like it looks like literally feet in front of whoever's taking this video.
Yeah.
See,
yes.
I did not see a fence.
Yeah, you're right. He lunged after that, and I backed up. He found out where I chickened out.
Oh, okay.
I was definitely close enough here that if he would have decided to stick a claw, he could have got to me. So this is a little lion park right down the street from the range, and I literally mean a mile from the range. and they weren't warned that there was a shooting event going on, and so they had told us. Actually, the U.S. Revolver team was walking in as Eric Graffel was walking out with a couple of his French teammates and his son, and it was really cool. We're just wandering around looking at lions, and here's Eric and his boy, and I hadn't seen his son since he was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old, and he's as tall as Eric now, maybe taller, and he's grown up. So that was pretty cool to see. This is a little lion park. We actually learned quite a bit from them, and they had
From the lions?
from the lion park, from the people at the lion park. This is when you go to Africa. This is always one of the bucket list items, right? You
Yeah.
want to see lions, and then my wife is very concerned about all the animals in the world, so she had a lot of questions for the lion park owners, how well they were treated and all that. And it was quite interesting. He said that 20 years before there were about 3,000 lions in captivity in Africa and 10,000 wild, and now they're down to less than 3,000 wild and 10,000 in captivity. And their stance was, these lions are born in captivity. They're not raised as pets, obviously, but they're definitely not unfamiliar with humans. But their stance as the owners of this park was, if it keeps going like this in 20 or 50 years, there won't be any lions. So there either needs to be lions in captivity or there won't be any lions at all. And we actually, of course, I was with Rich, and Rich and I always want to know how everything works. Rich and I took apart the faucets in our Airbnbs, and we went back and reported to the owners, hey, these aren't done right. We fixed them, and you're going to need to fix all the other ones. So we down the street from the lion farm is a chicken farm, or lion park. I shouldn't say farm. Lion park is a chicken farm, and they kind of had a relationship. When the chickens, if there were chickens that passed away, that couldn't be turned into meat birds, they were given to the lion park, and there was kind of a circle in the community of these people traded this for this, and kind of a circle in the community without money. And I thought that was, I really like that. I really like that people are still being people to each other and going, what are your needs in life? How can we help each other succeed as neighbors? But what you're seeing here is 2. There's actually a third one off to the right in the back there, and there's a 4th one right behind where the lion's head is right now. And these are juveniles. These are 2.5 years old, and they're quite aggressive when there's a fence between you and them. But when the owner goes in the cage, they sprint. They're scared of you. So their demeanor changes quite a bit when they're faced with the choice of, do I actually want to do battle with you or play with you or run away from you? So,
I wonder if that's just because they're juveniles,
It is. It is. Yeah, we went and saw some adult males and females after we saw these, and they are. I'm not sure they back down. There's.
Yeah.
I've got some fantastic pictures of one of them just kind of getting right in my face. There's a fence between us, but one chain link fence isn't enough for one 400-pound cat.
No.
And he knows he's the king of the jungle, right? He just gets right in your face, and you can taste his breath, and he just opens his mouth just enough where I can see his teeth. And he just stands in front of me and is waiting for me to flinch. And it's a totally different animal. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, those things are massive. I follow a couple of, I think there's 3 different pages that I follow, and they all have lions.
Yeah.
Because they're all like rescues, And this one is he rescued this cat at 10 days old. Now, that 10-day-old cat was about the size of my 2, 3, 4-month-old Great Dane,
Yeah.
Big animal. And,
Yeah.
but they have bonded so much that he can drag her kill into the shade. He can go up to her kill when she's eating, and it doesn't bother her. You know what I mean? It's like nuts how close they can bond. Now he's still like, look, she's still wild. I know we don't cross any bound or borders, but it's still pretty amazing because they all have similar experiences where they're just within these. because another one has 3 males, like 4 females. These are all, they're younger, but they're adult lions. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, if any one of them, they are so free. The one male was so big, the guy's holding his head. And he's like, all right, I can't hold his head anymore. And he had to put his head down. That's how freaking heavy the head was.
There were some cubs that were born a few days before we got there. We heard numbers anywhere from 2 to 5 days old, and its eyes were open, but I don't think it could see yet. It still had the umbilical cord hanging off of it, and the mother, it was in I don't know, in the building, in the structure. I don't think it was their house, but it was in the business, and they kind of had it in a basket on a mat, and we got to hold, a 2-3 day lion cub.
Whoa.
And everyone who came and visited that week got to hold it, and that was pretty cool. They named it, I can't remember what they named it, but they named it something for the match or for the shooters. And they'd said that, so we probably went on, I think it was our second day of shooting, so maybe it was on Tuesday. And so with just the people coming from the match, from the pre-match, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they said that they had made more money in ticket sales in that 9 days than they usually make in a year.
Wow.
And so it was really, we went over and saw some tigers, and the gentleman that was taking us through was throwing them chickens, and they were so tired of eating chickens that they were burying the chickens. And I said, well, that's a good sign. He goes, yeah, they usually only get a chicken every other day. He goes, but now they're getting 4 or 5 chickens a day, so they're just hiding them now.
Wow.
But the lion cub that was in there, it sounds like there were 3 of them born, and the mother had separated this one from the other 2. So it was going to die either way. And they said in 25 years of doing this, this is only the second cub that they're going to have to bring in and hand. They don't want it to have that relationship with people. And they still had the previous one that they'd had to hand raise. And when we got to its enclosure, it came running all the way from the other side of its enclosure, and it put itself up against a fence, and it wanted to be rubbed. So you could totally tell. I was like, okay, wait a second. This thing thinks it's a house cat. There definitely needs to be a fence between that cat and humans. Otherwise, it's going to try to climb in your lap and eat your lunch. Like, that thing thinks it's just a big furry pet. So,
well, and that's basically how that one cat was. Yeah.
Yeah. And they said this one has to happen. If we don't take care of it, it's going to pass away. So do we have a cat that's, definitely can't be put with other cats, but also shouldn't be around people, or do we let it pass away? And they've decided at that business that they were going to hand raise the cat. And what turned into a joke for us is they had Jack Russells that would take care of the kitten. And which is funny because this 3-day-old kitten is almost as big as Jack Russell's, just a lot less coordinated. The Jack Russells made great parents, but they had some type of Jack Russell bred with I don't know what it was bred with, but this thing was massive. Had to be 50, 60 pounds, and it was, the size of a bulldog. Just a huge. And we asked the guy, we asked the guy that owned the business what kind of dog it was, and he just looked at us like we're nuts, and he goes, Jack Russell. We're like, dude, that's like a super Jack Russell. So yeah, it's interesting. Totally different thing. So.
Wow. Yes, I saw that video and I was like, all right, I'm going to have to ask him about this when we talk about Africa, because I'm like, I don't see a fence and I need some context here.
I've got some great pictures and videos from that lion park. That was really, really enjoyable. And, I don't put it much or sometimes nothing on social media, but I've got some great stuff buried in the depths of my phone.
So what now, in order to, obviously each world shoot, now it's 4 years away. So it'll be 2029, but this year starts qualifiers again. So are you going to be shooting both qualifiers each year until world shoot?
So historically, I've only ever shot one. Like I said, I don't necessarily love hitting matches like crazy.
Right.
I do believe that this year's IPSC Nationals is beyond filled. It's a match that they don't need to advertise because A, everyone wants to shoot it. B, it's usually in an area that's quite active. And C, it is a qualifier match and people do want to go. So I did not get signed up for this year's match. I'm not going to try to get in. It actually overlaps with the WRC event. And I somewhat regret it. I should have probably gotten the first one because they only get harder to get into. So I need to make sure I need to be on top of the whichever one happens next year. Actually, I've got that here on my to-do list. Find out where it is, find out who's running it, make sure I have written down exactly what day signups are, so I don't miss that. Because I've won the World Shoot, I get an invite, but I want to go with my team, so I still want to qualify as a team. And I'm actually not sure. Are we doing qualifying for 2 years or 3 years now? Because the match is every 4.
I think the qualifying starts now, so it's 26, 27, 28,
Oh,
4,
there is
29.
there are 3 opportunities to go.
I think
But
there's 6. Like you get
yeah,
IPSC Nats and regular Nats each
and
year.
historically it was your 3 best scores put together, right? Added up like points. But I'm wondering if 3 nationals counts for that. Or do we still need USPSA nationals? Or do we still? I haven't found that. That's also sitting here on the list. What exactly is the qualifying process to go as a team?
Yeah, and I went through this before with somebody, and I know it's on the website now.
Okay, on the
Yeah,
USPSA.
and I forget where at the moment. Oh, and it's also on shoot. Now I can't think of the what is like. Hold on a second. It might remember. IPSCUSA.com. IPSC-USA.com. And then it has at the top a World Shoot Policy tab, and then you can click on them.
All right, good. I wrote that
So,
down.
okay, yeah. They
I
had
need to.
just created that because it was so hard to find anything.
Yeah, I need to make sure I understand the process. I still want to go on a team. So while I could go as an individual, I would still prefer to go with my team.
Yeah, I totally get that. But let me ask you this. Let's say you were unable to make the minimum number of qualifiers required, and then you still had your World Shoot invitation because you won, and then you won again. What do you think would be any type of kickback to that?
From
What from shooters,
no,
competitors, or organizations, or
it is what it is. I was just at the Steel Challenge and on the Centerfire Super Squad. It's me, it's BJ Norris, Casey, Jesse. Boy, I'm trying to think who else was on that squad. Max Michelle historically was there in the past. And we're all about the same age. We're all about that same point in life where we're all juggling careers, businesses, families, aging parents, rentals. Right? We're all juggling all these things. Oh, Nils was there, and Nils is a little bit younger than I am, and we all understand this is our job. Shooting is our job. It's not my primary source of income, but I still view shooting as a job, as a career. And sometimes things get in the way. I mean, sometimes you're not going to be able to make all the what's the word I'm looking for? Qualifier matches. You're not going to be able to make it to every single thing in life, and that's okay. And that's okay. And I don't think there would be any blowback. If I went as an individual without it and didn't wear a USA jersey and won a World Shoot, I don't think there'd be any blowback.
okay?
I don't think there would be a single comment. I think everyone understands that, we've all got a life. We've all got to do what we've got to do in life. And yeah, I don't think there'd be an issue there at all. And I would still, 3 out of 5 days, I'd still be wearing a USA flag.
Okay.
So I might shoot in my own jersey 1 or 2 days.
Now
Yeah,
I did find the answer on that
yeah.
website, and it is 3 out of 6, and
Okay.
it's factory gun and IPSC each year.
So could you shoot three USPSA nationals, or do you still need an IPSC?
Nope, you just need 3 of the 6.
Okay. Well, I missed the first one.
There you.
Let's see. Let's see if there's a West Coast one. Maybe Layton's putting one on in Phoenix again. I like Phoenix in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, they just say this year, obviously, IPSC Nats is in Pennsylvania, but factory gun Nats is in Utah. So,
Yeah.
I know
Yep.
you get an invite to that one.
Yeah, I'm in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they don't have any other dates or locations for
Yeah.
27 or 28. So,
Yeah. The USPSA sends me the match invite for nationals, and I set an alarm like 20 minutes before that expires, and then I'm struggling. And I'm texting with Jake, and I'm going, "It's not working." And then I know he's just sitting at home going, "You idiot!" It's like put down the revolver, and figure out how the internet works for 20 minutes.
that's funny. Well, that's good. At least now you know your answer. You only have to do the three
There we go.
nationals, and that's it.
Then we're going to Italy.
Yeah. Is that exciting?
Very exciting, and I don't. They haven't said exactly where in Italy, but there's three ranges that exist that are in. I would believe are in contention, and they're all up north. So that kind of gives us an idea. Okay, we're going north. Let's see what else we can plan around that. Europe is hard because you always want to travel to different countries, and they're the size of states, so it's almost hard to not travel to different countries when you're there. But it's weird with guns, right? And I
Yeah.
try not to muddy the waters by going, yeah, we're going all the way there. Let's also hit three other countries and try not to get our stuff taken as we cross borders. So I actually would like to. I'd like to get there early, and I'd like to probably land somewhere further south, make our way up north, shoot the match, and then try to make our way back down south. And we've met some people over the years, and I think we'd probably be able to do it with them. So, and now there's direct flights from Seattle to a whole bunch of spots in Europe, including Italy. So, direct flights is where it's at for me. I don't
Nice.
really. I'm definitely not doing international plane change with guns. Doesn't sound enjoyable.
Well, and I've talked to people who have traveled internationally and shot matches, and they've told me like a lot of times if you talk to the match director, you can leave your guns there
Yeah.
and travel around and then come back, get your guns and leave.
Yeah, but does travel around mean leave the country?
As far as I know, that's what I was
Okay.
led to understand. Yeah.
Every country is a little different. Every place is a little different. If I'm going to go to Italy, I'm going to enjoy some Italy, even if that's a small town in the woods somewhere or in the mountains somewhere for an extra few days. I'd like to just enjoy that for what it is, and then make a plan to go back and see something else later.
Some of the best food I ever had was in Italy. Amazing. And I mean, the history there is out of this world, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, it
Every,
literally predates Jesus.
yeah. It's wild. Yeah, it's a cool spot. We're very excited for that trip, which means in the next 3 years we won't go there. Which means we're talking about going back to Iceland. We really enjoyed Iceland. We lapped the whole island a few years ago, and we were talking about going back this summer. But Africa seems so long ago, but it was only 9 months ago, and we were just in Costa Rica. So I think we're gonna stay in the States the rest of the year and maybe tone it down a little, and then Iceland again next summer. I think.
Okay. Now, getting back to getting back to shooting for a moment. Obviously, throughout time, training strategies change and techniques change and all of that. How much has your training changed in the last 2.5 years, or been refined?
Um, I feel like every time I start training, so when I come out of an off season, and like I said, I take a real off season, I instantly go and I shoot a whole bunch of benchmarks for myself. I see where my splits are, I see where my draws are, I see what I think is lagging. Are my hands faster than my eyes? Are my eyes faster than my hands? Where am I in life in general compared to where I think I should be? Where's my finger? Is my finger fast? Once I get kind of those baselines down, I start working on my reload. Okay, where's a standing reload? Where's a moving reload? How consistent is a reload where I'm going to cover 20 feet? And I start to get that data, and then that really starts to show me where I need to pay attention. I feel every year I get more and more and more focused on. I'm able to find different ways to shorten that time from away to back up and running at 95+%. So I feel like I've gotten that down to less than 2 weeks with dry fire and live fire, and I can within 2 weeks I can go from I think I'm probably at 90% when I'm fully off, right back to 95, 96, and now it's time to start planning. Okay, what exactly is my peak going to look like? When do I need to peak? What skills do I need to, steel challenge is real easy. My draws need to peak. I need to look at the sights, right? It's very
Right.
simple. I-Core is having their championship next for me. That's my next match, about 7 weeks out. I know my hands are fast. I know my eyes are fast. I know my finger's good. I'm going to spend a lot of time on footwork. I'm going to spend a lot of time on hitting positions, a lot of time on reloads, both standing, moving, and consistency over long distance, and then also totally different type of shooting. Right? We're not just catching the edge of a plate. We need to go place the bullets. So
Yes.
so
It's more
I think
a lot more accuracy.
yeah. So I think that I've gotten better at creating focused practice plans. While I think that was a strength of mine 2 years ago and 5 years ago, I think it gets better and better and more refined now.
Do you think the competition is getting closer and closer, or?
I think the competition is getting stronger and stronger. Absolutely. I don't know if they're getting any closer. The numbers, you'd have to interpret those, and everyone would have to interpret those differently, right? There's different ways to look at those metrics. I know Jay keeps an ELO rating.
Yeah.
I want to say that an ELO rating, in any type of theoretical ranking system, information in produces information out. So if there's a lot of information to put in, you'll get a lot more accurate information out. In Revolver, there's not a lot of information in. There's historical data, but I'm not out shooting matches against people every weekend. Rich isn't out shooting matches against people every weekend. I think Jay and Alex shoot a lot of matches, but it's really hard to get that data, and it's really hard to know how strong Rich is going to show up to nationals, or I'm going to show up to nationals when we're somewhat of practice score ghosts. So that's a tough one, right? I think, me personally, every time I see Jay shoot, and I haven't seen him for 6 months or a year, I go, oof, I can't do that. And Alex and Rich, they just move. They move well. They shoot aggressive. Everyone can hit everything. I watch those guys shoot, and I go, I can't do that. And then somehow I pull it off. So, I'm serious. Like I watch them do it, and I go, I'm not that fast. I can't reload that fast. I can't shoot that fast. And I just kind of, when I relax and I decide that it's just sit back and let the training take over, and you already put in the hard work, let it show. That's when I can really succeed, and I'm able to compete with those guys. So I want my competition to get better. I want them to be stronger than ever. World Shoot was a great example. I mean, Alex is shooting. He showed up to World Shoot stronger than ever. He had an injury early-ish, maybe middle of the match. And Rich and I turned to Jay, and I said, the moment Alex doesn't shoot a stage with us, he's no longer part of the team score. And we said, Jay, it's time for you to be clean. And it was Jay's first World Shoot. Not that Jay's not a clean shooter, great shooter. It's just a lot of pressure. And Jay's a quiet guy, so sometimes it's hard to get a read on how he's feeling. I don't know if he's nervous or he's, sitting back, he's got this. He's just a quiet guy. and we said it's time for you to be clean. It's time for you to be, the only way we get a team gold is with Jay right now. So and Jay just turned it up. I mean, he just absolutely crushed the rest of that day and just kept going hard. So everyone on the team is really talented. Everyone on the 17 France team was really talented. Yeah, I think they're getting better every year, and somehow I keep sneaking a nationals win.
Well, and you keep saying, I can't do that. I can't do what they're doing. I can't do what they're doing. But yet you were somehow able to become super aggressive day 3 last year. So what you hear about that with certain people is the first time I've heard you say that's what you had to do. But
Well, I think if Jay was sitting here on a third camera with us, I think Jay dives deep into the numbers, and Jay knows sometimes his history would say I like to be behind and I like to get aggressive and catch up. Me personally, I would love to be like 200 points out in front and not be worried on the third day. But sometimes that's just not how it
never
happens.
works out that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've won 9, and I remember one where the math said I was gone, right? Kind of like World Shoot this year. I wasn't catchable, but that's not how I felt. I felt every day anyone could catch me on any stage. So yeah, I would prefer to not be behind and have to be aggressive. that'd be the ideal match plan. But
Okay, so I'm curious, when you have to push like you did. You said you caught them in 3 stages. How do you not push so hard that you make mistakes? Like, how do you draw that line?
Me personally, I don't. I stand back, and it's kind of an out of body experience. I kind of stand back and I let my senses do what I practiced. I let the 15, 16, 17 splits fly. I let the 19 to 21 transitions fly on close targets. And I'm mathematically, if you point the gun at a target, you're naturally aiming in the middle. You're going to shoot an A. So why not send it at a 17 split? Why not hammer a reload and take a chance at bringing the gun up and ripping 2 off in under 2 seconds from the previous reload? And mathematically, you're going to put the gun in the middle of the target, right? And so at some point, I go, well, the only way for me to catch them is to just trust the numbers, trust doing what I can do, and do it, and send it, and get after it. And I don't think that I always have the confidence to do that when I'm leading or I'm tied. Only when I'm behind and I go, well, the only way to catch them is to let it fly. So, I'd like to just lead from day 1. That'd be way easier.
Well, and I said the last time, I even said when I was live streaming one of the nationals a couple years back and when we had our conversation, I said, it seems like you have different gears each day, and each day you just get faster. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe you being behind allows you to hit that final gear on that Sunday that allows you to do what you do.
Yeah, and some of it is just me being in my head. The first nationals I won, 2017, we were in Illinois at PASA, and with 4 stages to go, I was in 8th.
Holy cow!
Yeah. And I kind of sat down. I looked at the numbers, and this is pre-practice score, right? This is handwritten scores or being hand input by someone else with a calculator. There's a printout at the end. I'm pretty sure they weren't even using an easy win score. This is some proper pre-modern technology scoring. And I kind of had an idea where I was compared to who I thought was leading, and the match took a turn. Right back then, you had the stages on the hill and the stages down below, and they had 2 different flavors. The stages up on top were very stand and deliver. They were very old school IPSC shooting, right? you're going to shoot these 14 shots strong hand only, and everything has hardcover or no shoot on it. And Rob steps up there and just paints alphas on every target, reloads the gun, switches to weak hand, and just goes straight. Headshots in the A box at 20. Rob's just plowing A's. Josh Lentz is just shooting. I mean, these guys are just machines. I can't shoot like that. My strength is speed. My strength is reloading. And so I have to get through the stages that I think aren't my strength to get to the ones that I think are, and then trust my training, trust my skills, and let it rip, let it eat. That's the only thing I can do. So
that year, did it come down to the last stage?
It did. We didn't know it. We didn't know because there was no live scoring. No one knew. And back then, you would go and you'd sit in the clubhouse, and they're going to take an hour or two to total scores, and they're and that was a single stack society ran the match, and of course Rob sits on the board, and so Rob's in and out of the back room. At that point, Rob had won 2 revolver nationals, and we were all sitting around, and we kind of had an idea, but unless you're doing live math at the time, you're taking hit factors and calculating them into stage points and match points. Like, there's just no way to get real numbers like you can instantly today with practice score. And that was a totally different time. It feels like in shooting. It feels like it was decades ago now compared to. I mean, even a few years ago in Talladega, I remember sitting on the tailgate of somebody's pickup truck and hand jamming scores. Because while we had a score, it wasn't live. It wasn't live updates. It wasn't live. It wasn't updating every stage. And I'm sitting over there, literally running hit factors, running stage points, match points, keeping a run of, the 2-3 people I'm in contention with to know how much I need to throttle up or down. I mean, I've won a nationals by less than a point in the past. So it really does come, it really, and I think that was the gap between Jay and Rich at World Shoot. It was, a point or two over 30 stages. I don't remember the exact number, but, less than a trigger pull is the difference.
Yeah, it was like 1.1 or 1.2 points.
Yeah, and in a match that size, that's a C versus a D. That's I wasn't sure, so I fired a third round, but you added a quarter second to your stage time.
Right.
That's nothing. That is literally, I stepped out of the very first box on the very first day and my foot slipped. I didn't perceive it as a change in time over a 30-second stage, but that there's nothing. 1 point over 30 stages is legitimately nothing. So
agree.
It all matters. Yeah. Sometimes it's just you just let it flow, and the outcome is the outcome. And apparently I've gotten away with it 9 times. That's how I feel. I view myself as very fortunate to have had those outcomes 9 times. I understand I put myself in those positions, but I feel very fortunate to be able to win 1, let alone 9. So.
Have you considered making a wager with Max Leograndis significant enough that, whoever loses first owes the other one X number of whatever just to make it worthwhile to keep it going?
So if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't even know. Like, I don't necessarily follow all the other divisions and all the other shooters, and especially, Revolver and PCC are as far apart as we could get, right?
Oh, yeah. Polar opposites, literally.
Yeah. And I think I've only been at 1 or 2 matches with Max over the years. I think he won a LO a few years ago in Ohio, right? I think I was at that match. I think I was. I only remember because I was harassing KC that he got beat by a rifle shooter. Yeah, no, that was really cool to see. There's always a question of cross division, right? And there's always and Revolver's one of those, like, no one really knows how the Revolver shooters cross over to other divisions, and no one really knows how other great shooters would cross into Revolver. I think Robbie showed us a little bit of that, but Robbie's also a phenomenon. I mean, he could go pick up PCC and do something with it. But modern revolver division isn't that different than the Rob Latham over the last 40 something years he's been competing. It's low cap. It's much more accuracy focused. It's lower hit count. It's less mistakes. I don't think when you say when people go, oh, Rob's stepping out into revolver. No, it's pretty similar. And Rob will tell you stories about shooting a revolver even before he started shooting semi-autos. So, but Max was a great example of he took the skills he had with one type of weapon, one type of gun, and just simply applied those to a different division. It's the exact same. We're still shooting points. We're still thinking about how long things take. It's still the same footwork, and I know he does that for a living. I think he teaches classes for a living, so it's not like he just randomly walked out and picked up an LO gun and won national. But I think I found that to be a fantastic example of the skills apply all the way across the sport.
Yeah, well, I think for the upper echelon of shooters, that is 100% true.
Yeah.
I've seen Jay shoot pistol at PCSL 2 gun, and he did well.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if he shot not a revolver but a semi-auto, he would still be doing well. Plus, he puts enough time into it that he would probably be in the top 20 at nationals.
Yeah.
A semi-auto.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but I would love to take the skills that I've learned in revolver and revolver takes a lot of patience, because when the gun is up and the sights are downrange and you're pointed at cardboard or steel, your hair's on fire. But then you have to learn to hit the brakes and be patient, even though my reload is pretty sharp. There's a lot of patience, even when I'm at the range by myself and I'm trying to break 1-2, 1-1 with a reload, which is pretty spicy with a revolver. It still takes a lot of patience compared to 15, 16 splits and 18, 19 transitions between targets. There's still a lot of visual patience and a lot of patience making sure my mechanics are right. I would love to take that and spiral that into IPSC shotgun. And I've never said that to anyone before, but I feel like that that level of focus and speed change would work well there. When am I going to find the free time?
Right. Yeah, that's especially with the fact that you enjoy doing what you do outside of the shooting community. So, because that would just take away from that as well.
Yeah. So there's another example of if I had Bruce Wayne money right there, I'd have a private plane and maybe I'd shoot shotgun.
There you go. And that's accepted more around the world than all this other stuff, for sure.
Yeah, I've got a local friend who shoots shotgun competitions, not IPSC style shotgun competitions, and I'm a little jealous. He gets to go on quite some great adventures, some great travel, and the payouts in the shotgun world are nothing to shake a stick at. That's for sure. And they definitely know how to have a good time. So.
And their guns are way more expensive than pistols.
Yeah. The whole thing is kind of I don't want to say add a zero to pistols, but maybe add $50K a season if you want to be realistic about it. So.
I know that one year, I think it was the year Eric came over. I could be wrong, but I think it was that year. They also had the big competition going at Marengo in shotgun, and they had $50,000 shotguns for sale over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope.
Not
gonna do it.
It's cool, and we don't cross at all. This sport and that sport don't cross at all. I met him on the beach in Hawaii. I didn't meet him at the range. And it's so funny. We became pretty good friends pretty quick, but completely different sports. We're friends on Facebook, and we have like 2 friends that cross between the genres of shooting, and I just think it's absolutely hilarious that these similar but very different worlds exist.
Well, I mean, it's shotguns and pistols mix as much as dirt bikes and F1.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it doesn't happen.
Yep. You're both into the same thing, but you're not into the same thing. Different crowds.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely different crowd.
Yeah. Hmm.
There was a
Yeah,
question.
that picture you got up there just feels so long ago now. That's wild how that just feels that way.
And 9 months. Yeah.
I know. It's only been 9 months. Leading up
Well,
to a world feud is so there's so much. You put so much of your life into it and so much emotion and there's money, but by the time you get there you don't care anymore about the money. You're there for the emotion and then our travel is just so much, right? My commuter flight from Seattle to Atlanta felt like nothing because normally when I fly all the way to Atlanta, I'm like, oh, that's a long day of travel. But that was the flight before the flight.
right. That was the warm up flight.
Yeah, I distinctly remember a friend of mine asked me about a month before how I feel about it, and I said, when we land back in Seattle after the whole thing is done, and I plop down in the seat, there's a really nice charter bus that we take. I said, when I plop down in that charter bus seat, I'll be done. I'll know I'm safe, and I know my wife's safe, and we made it home, and everyone's good to go. So I remember feeling that way before we left, and I remember when I hit the seat, and I was still wound up. I was still full of adrenaline from the match. So
I believe it. Any chance you'll ever shoot Bianchi?
oh, I would love to. I've never even shot it in a practice. I would absolutely love to. I've always hoped to find someone local that is really into it, and then I could go and join them, and I wouldn't have to try to set it up and guess what I'm trying to set up. And I would absolutely love to. I just don't. I'm not sure if that's a match you show up cold to. I think it's like the Steel Challenge. You could show up cold, but if you have any expectation of yourself for doing well, you know better than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I would absolutely love to find someone local who's into it and really get a feel for how they practice and I'm not going to expect myself to do well or place, but I would at least like to not go and embarrass myself. There's a lot of part times on some of that stuff, right? They've got practical event with a lot of
Yeah.
part time. And you really need to spend a lot of time maximizing a part time. We have part time stages at nationals, but you can't practice that ahead of time. In the past, when they give you the times, like in the stage book or something, they're lying. They're absolutely lying. They're not telling. I mean, this year, I think last year in Ohio, it was like you. I think we started holstered, and there's three targets, and they as soon as they started to turn, you could go, and you put two in each, and then you reload. And you had to go to strong hand or weekend, and the times were like 4 seconds. I mean, there's no getting used to that. You
Right.
can't be prepared for that. You got to decide if you're going to go try to make six alphas or if you're going to try to get 8 or 9 rounds off. That's the only decision you have to make when you walk up on a stage like that. So
Yeah. Do
you
you like
really,
stages like that, or do you want a
I
stage
do, yeah.
where? Okay.
I really enjoy stages like that, especially when they're faster than me. I really enjoy, trying to make the decision whether it's worth it or not. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm really glad they're always like in the middle of the match. That way, if I bomb it, it doesn't determine my match.
Right. It's not the
But they're
first stage of the day.
yeah, no, they're super. Actually, a few years ago, it was the first stage of the day, and it was under 40 degrees. So we all had I had a stage plan of like, let's get after it and crank some rounds, crank a reload out, and crank some rounds out after. And I get there, and it's like 37 degrees, and the wind's blowing, and I go, I think I'm going to shoot six and stop.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to take a swing at it with cold hands. Revolver reloads and finger temperature are very important for each other. You don't want to go after a reload with cold fingertips. You just end up throwing moon clips all over the stage.
Yeah, you need that dexterity.
Yeah.
All right, one last question. 2.5 years ago, you said no, and you would vote no every single time. Optics
Oh
on
no.
revolvers.
No. 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 So there was like a vote, right?
Yep, there was.
Yeah, yeah. And I couldn't find a single revolver shooter who voted for it. Like I couldn't find like a top competitor. No one wanted it. So it was a whole bunch of people who go, yeah, yeah, maybe I'd shoot it if they allowed it. No, nobody. It's allowed in open. It's allowed in limited. Nobody shoots it, or limited
Well,
10 or something.
right. I voted no because Jay Slater was like, none of us want it. And I'm
Yeah,
like, because I asked him, I was like, what do you guys want? And he goes, no, we don't want it. I'm like, okay, that's a no.
yeah. So we actually wrote a letter to the board, and we all signed it, and it was basically, hey, that's great that there's been a vote. Here's our vote. Here's our opinion from the people who are spending the most time with it, competing with it. I'm not saying we're right because we're better shooters than other people. I'm simply saying here's our argument against. And one of the big ones was how do you qualify for World Shoot? I mean, there's some great dot revolver shooters out there, but and so let's say that they become our World Shoot team, and they qualified with a dot, and now they have to go shoot irons, and it's a totally different world.
Right.
That was one of our big ones, and there's nothing wrong with revolver division. You enjoy it because you enjoy it. Um, I don't think that adding optics to revolver or single stack will make it a more desirable division. It's hard. They're both hard. They're always going to be hard. Adding a dot is just one part of the shooting that you change. So I don't really think there's that big of a difference between production or carry optics and limited optics. Especially with the rule set today. Magwell or no magwell, I think are the big differences there, right? But the mags are so big, you're not stuffing a reload standing. You're always on the move, except for a classifier. So
Right. At least that's everybody's plan, is to find a place where you're moving and reload there so you're not wasting
yeah.
time.
So I think you can shoot. I don't really shoot club matches, so maybe I'm a bad person to give an opinion on this. But I think you can shoot revolver with a dot on it in L10 now.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, yeah.
And I,
So,
and I don't know anybody who has.
no, you still haven't heard of anybody yet, huh?
No, I've shot open in a USPSA match before, but that's just because I was just getting tuned up for an IRC or something years ago, and that was But it doesn't matter when you show up with a revolver in any division besides revolver. It's not. You're just there having fun. You're just there enjoying your day with your friends, or you just happen to not fit in revolver division. I don't really like the idea of adding divisions and creating more separation. There's an argument for and against. There's an argument for and against more divisions. There's an argument for and against combined nationals versus standalone nationals. Yeah, I'm really glad that we don't have revolvers with dots on them or single stack guns with dots on them. I don't think that's the right choice for the divisions personally. The
Okay.
barrier to entry is high. This gun obviously has a custom barrel on it, but if you want to build a 929, you're going to go spend 1,000, 1,200 on a base gun. You're going to spend almost just as much for an action job, getting it cleaned up in sights, and then for someone to just come try revolver division, you've got to be 2,000 in a gun. If you're dead serious about it and you want sights and good moon clips and a belt, you want to buy everything. You're going to be $3,000. Adding a $500 dot is going to raise the barrier to entry to try it, but also no one's trying it no one's not doing it because of the iron sights. Let's put it that way.
Right. I got you.
No one's going to do it because they gave you a dot. It's just not a valid argument, in my opinion. So,
Gotcha.
and the same thing with single stack, exact same thing with single stack. You're shooting it because you enjoy it. It is pretty crazy. Dots have really transformed. It's absolutely wild, especially for someone who shot club matches, 2008, 9, 10 through maybe like 2013 when production was at its heyday. And right behind it, limited and open were vying for number two. And now you go to a nationals and what did we shoot factory nationals last year in Ohio, and like the entire match was a limited optics match, or the year before that, and there were the also rans, like 4 or 5 other divisions, production and single stack and revolver, and all these guys who, oh yeah, they're also here. I forgot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it was that 1 year was basically all irons, and they couldn't fill it up, so they opened it up to limited optics, and within minutes, the thing was full, and people switched divisions.
Yeah. I think that low cap and I think that iron sights are two of the skills you can't replace. You can't replace the sight control and learning trigger control with iron sights with a dot, and they go back and forth, right? You when you shoot a dot a lot, you learn a lot from a dot that you wouldn't get from just shooting irons. But I think there's a set of fundamentals there that you can't get in just high hit factor. I've got a 24 round magazine. I've got all the dot. I don't need to change focus with my eyes. And I see new shooters come into the sport and go straight into a gun with a full magazine and a red dot, and they don't get to build those skills. They don't learn trigger control because they've got all the ammo in the world to just keep sending at the popper down the way. They don't really need to learn sights because you don't really use it. You don't move your eyes off the target focus. So that's kind of a bummer. That's kind of I don't want to say it's a lost skill yet, but I haven't been around 20 years and it's moved quite a bit. I'm worried 20 years from now, maybe that's not as common of a skill. And unfortunately, my grandfather passed away while we were in Africa, and I've got some of his hunting rifles here. And to him, a scope was a new thing, right? He'd go hunt big game with iron sights, and I think I'm not sure that is the same argument that I'm making. Let's go make a 200-yard shot on an animal while the wind is blowing with iron sights. I'm not sure that's the same thing as what I'm saying, but. Obviously, the game evolves, time evolves, the equipment evolves, but there's no replacement for those skills. There's no replacement for that sight picture. I watched Nils shoot, and I think Nils is one of the most fantastic iron-sighted shooters I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he hits things with iron sights that I can't hit with a dot. And Josh Lentz is another one. Just a fantastic iron sight shooter. And I just... I worry that those skills are going to be gone, and it is what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, it seems like iron sights is more what Nils prefers to shoot too. So
I don't know. I just shot the Steel Challenge with him, and he had a gun with a dot on it, LOCO. I think he shot them both. I can't remember, and we were kind of going back and forth. He's not really a Steel Challenge shooter, so it's not like he practices it and prepares. I think he makes sure his gun's clean when he shows up, and that's about it. He's just an animal, man. I mean, he just goes out there, and it's not his specialty, and he's hanging in the squad of the guys that it is their specialty, but he does pretty good with that dot gun. He does pretty good with that dot gun. So
yeah,
and we knew that. 10 years ago, Nils would borrow an open gun and go shoot a club match or an area match and just destroy everybody and go, oh, there's something in there for that guy with dots. So
yeah, for sure. Would you rather see an iron national and have optics in their own nationals, or do you care?
I don't know if I've ever given it that much thought. What I want is standalone nationals. Every division has its own standalone match. And how many divisions do we have now? Like 37?
There's none.
Like eight, 9. So a nationals every month. That's not going to work out, right? It's not going to work. Mathematically, it doesn't work. You're not going to fill up the low cap. You're not going to fill up the small division nationals. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's just mathematically not going to work. And I already hear people not excited about the price of nationals, and they ask me, like I'm the one that sets the price, why nationals cost so much. And I said, well, it's simple economics. The match fills up, and those of us, with a bunch of national titles, we get to use that USPSA jet to fly everywhere, so it's gas is expensive. So it's Rob's fault. It's Rob's fault.
There you go.
But just it fills up. The matches fill up, and the price goes up, and the price of the match is the least expensive part of shooting, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's everything else around it.
Yeah, no. In a perfect world, I want to race everybody. I want Rob to come back. I want Jerry to come back. I want Eric to pick up a revolver. I want us all to go have fun, and let's go find out who's the best in each. And if they did that, they won't do it. Not saying they should. Doesn't make sense. And they spread the matches out. Maybe I find a reason to go pick up a production gun, or I find a reason to go pick up a rifle and do something I've never done before. And that's what, if I'm king for a day, if I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm paying for that to happen. How's that?
Oh, wow. There you go.
Let's everybody in the shooting world show up in each division. I think that would be an awesome thing to see. But
maybe we need you to win the next $1 billion lottery.
Oh yeah, I'd have to play first. No, I'd have to play first. I don't really give too much thought to how nationals goes together. I'm happy that it goes together, and I'm happy that they put on a good match. And I don't want to say nationals isn't for the top shooters, but we may not necessarily be focused on the event or the structure when we're there. We're worried about our match. We're worried about who we're racing. We're worried about how we're performing. I think the venue and the economics of it, and the food and where it is, I think that really is much more of a business than a competition. And USPSA is a business, and without it, we wouldn't be able to win national titles. So I think you've got the business of shooting, and you've got the business of running shooting sport, and they're maybe not always aligned, and it's just the way the world works sometimes. It's not F1 where everybody's got a $250 million budget. So
right, man, wouldn't that be amazing if it was?
Yeah, I would love to see some more made-for-TV events. I think that would be a good. I remember seeing some stuff 30 years ago on ESPN. They did some made-for-TV pro-am stuff, and I thought that was a fantastic idea, great model that they put together. I would love to see some more of that, but I don't think that the way our sport is currently set up that it would make for a very interesting watch. I think golf makes for a more interesting watch than the angles a camera could get or anything like that. So
right. Well, I know Leighton has been doing a bunch of live streaming stuff too.
Yeah.
And I know they just introduced, I don't know if you saw it, but they showed a video now where live on the stream, you can see the time from the timer as it's happening.
I haven't seen that, but that doesn't surprise me at all. That is totally something Leighton, because Leighton's coming at it from the standpoint of a shooter spectator. Right? Yes. And so maybe like so at the SEAL Challenge last weekend, there was 3 camera crews. There was Shooting USA was there, scouting and team. Josh Freilich was there with his crew, and then there was like a SEAL. I didn't get to see it, but it was kind of a podcast live stream going on at the same time, but I could see Leighton coming at it from a much more like, here's an opinion piece, and here's also the facts. From seeing how he was kind of doing it at World Shoot, and I thought he did a great job. I think all of these crews are doing a great job, and I'm really enjoying that they come at it from different perspectives and different points of view. When you watch a professional sport on TV, you get the point of view of the crew that paid for it, right? You watch football on Fox, you get Fox's crew. You watch Formula One, there's 2 of those. There's the U.S. version and the international version, but you only get those 2. You don't get 4 or 5 or kind of a podcast style. I think it's pretty cool that there's several groups right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Just got to grow the base, you know. So that's the
Yeah,
hardest
no,
part.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for more media to come into the sport and be. It wouldn't surprise me if within a year or two, Leighton's standing at the front of every super squad asking us to put cameras on our hats, and he's live streaming right from the camera as we're shooting the stage. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. That's
Would you
where he's
do
going.
it?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. I
Okay.
think I think I don't really watch football. I don't watch any football, but I do enjoy when they mic him up and they get to hear him talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure if I would want that. Maybe I would need to edit myself, but it
Well,
is
but
interesting. It's
just a
interesting.
camera while you're shooting would be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and then I just saw some Luke Cow. I think was at the Seal Challenge this weekend showing off some like AI shooting glasses, and I'm not really into tech, but that's fascinating to me, and maybe that spirals into helping some type of media go out, right? He's kind of got it looked like he had, I don't know what he had going on, but I know that he had AI technology integrated into the glasses with cameras, and the flyer he was giving out had feedback and all kinds of stuff as it was advertising. So something
Who
like
is
that.
this?
Luke Cow.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I don't know anything about it, but it seems interesting, and I think we're seeing a lot of people that are getting interested in shooting are probably very very tech advanced compared to us old revolver guys shaking iron sights at the sky.
Keeping your grandfathers happy.
That's right. We're going deer hunting next week with no sights.
There you go. Well, Michael, that's everything I had. It's been a fantastic conversation. Is there anything that we talked about that you wanted to touch on one more time, or is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we go?
I'm nervous. 2 or 3 years from now, you're going to ask me the same questions, and I'm going to make up different answers. I'm nervous about that now.
I'm going to have to. We do this again, then I'm going to have to run them simultaneously so people can see how you've changed throughout the years.
Oh man, scary.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and good luck this year for number 10.
Thank you. Very excited. Yep, very excited. Let's get to it.